Carrying the Braille writer through Pyongyang airport was an ordeal. North Korean security was alarmed. To them, the mechanical clips and levers seemed suspicious. Perhaps a code-breaking machine. I tried demonstrating its function, but they remained unconvinced. Yes, welcome to Doc Wales Diaries. Thank you for joining me once again. In this episode, we return to a land that is often whispered about, but rarely understood. It's North Korea. But beyond the headlines and hidden walls, we found something beautiful. Promises, once whispered in hope, now taking root in unlikely soil. We're greeted not by guards, but by piglets, squealing their delight. We carry gifts of wool, medical knowledge, and a Braille machine mistaken for an Enigma codebreaker. And we meet those who dare to dream for the disabled, caregivers, teachers, and even table tennis champions with hearts wide open. This is a story about keeping your word even when the world says it's impossible. It's about trust, patience, and the power of showing up again and again until love makes a way. From the greenhouses we help build to the voices of blind children typing their thanks in Braille. This is a journey not of politics, but of people. Come with me as we witness what happens when promises are not just made, but they're kept. Hey, let's begin. As I opened the so-called office door, I didn't expect to be greeted by secretaries with snouts and curly tails. 7 piglets squealed in unison, rushing towards me with a high-pitched chorus of wee 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 wee, a universally understood welcome, perhaps even more sincere than most. These were not ordinary pigs. They were part of a living, breathing vision, a greenhouse project designed to provide food for orphans and people with disabilities across the region. The manager had mentioned that the office was still under repair, but as I climbed the steps to assess the damage, I found that joy had already moved in. The piglet, I hope the next time we meet, we can enjoy a pulled pork sandwich together, I joked to the manager, a line that drew laughter and a knowing smile from him. His grasp of English was good, but it was understanding the Welsh humour that truly impressed me. In October 2016, I travelled with my dear friend Brazilian football coach George Pereira to Pyongyang University of Science and Technology. Our mission was multi-layered. 1. Enhance the university's soccer program. This was George's 3rd visit. 2. Deliver laboratory supplies for the medical centre. 3. Bring financial aid and supplies, blankets and medications for the victims of devastating tornadoes in the northeast of North Korea. 4. Continue our long-standing support of the university staff and faculty. One area that had suffered greatly was the Sambong School for the Deaf, where flooding had caused half of the buildings to collapse. After a week of fulfilling these objectives, George returned to Wales. I flew on to Urumqi in northwest China, and then back to Shenyang, China, and finally into Pyongyang, where my real work with KFPD, the Korea Federation for the Protection of the Disabled, was about to begin. In Shenyang, I met Suki Lee from Dula, an NGO devoted to helping the disabled in North Korea. He handed me 92 kilograms of wool. That wool wasn't just cargo. It would be turned into hats, scarves, and gloves by disabled individuals, equipping them with life skills and dignity as they learn to contribute to their society. Plans were already underway to build a dedicated life skills center to further this training. We were now fulfilling promises made in 2015 to Munchol, whose heart for the disabled had become our shared vision. 3 remarkable British women, Professors Philomena Commons and Heather Angeli from Leeds University, and Dr. Angela Moore, a paediatrician from Wolverhampton, joined us at the Munso Rehabilitation Centre. They conducted a 2-day seminar covering everything from cerebral palsy to autism, followed by a week of hands-on training for North Korean healthcare professionals. I'd first met Philomena in the summer of 2015 at her church in Leeds. Her heart for this mission was clear. That initial meeting eventually led to this transformative collaboration, including a joyful side mission, joining a table tennis tournament hosted by KFPD. Yes, therapy and table tennis. Healing happens in many ways. Back in 2015, Doc Beard promised the support of constructing greenhouses to feed orphans and the disabled. By 2016, that promise was growing, literally. We visited sites where eco-friendly, biodiverse greenhouses were rising from the soil, providing not only vegetables, but also housing livestock, hence the piglets. These greenhouses were more than structures. They were symbols of commitment, sustainability, and long-term care. Yeah, thanks to Doc A, we were able to deliver a Braille writer to the Taedong School for the Blind. My friend, John Sanders, blind from birth, accompanied me to the Perkins School for the Blind in Boston, Massachusetts, his alma mater. He helped me to acquire a machine, a Brailler. John had been mentored by Edward Waterhouse, a Welshman from Swansea, who had helped set up the schools for blind across the globe. Before he passed, Edward confided to his students that there was one place he had always dreamed of serving, and that was, guess what, North Korea. He never made it, but in a way, his dream did. At Taedong, I watched a student type a message of gratitude in Braille, a letter I would hand-deliver back to the Perkins Institute in Boston. It was a full-circle moment. Vision made visible. Later, Peter Jackson, a celebrated blind pianist from Wales, left behind a generous legacy. His widow donated his specialized Braille computer, printer, and Brailler to the Taedong School. Arrangements were facilitated by Reverend Steve Jones, who also taught goalball, a sport designed for the blind. Carrying the Braille writer through Pontiac Airport was an ordeal. North Korean security was alarmed. To them, the mechanical clips and levers seemed suspicious, perhaps a code-breaking machine. I tried demonstrating its function, embossing Braille onto paper, but they remained unconvinced. It was only when a KFPD representative intervened was I finally allowed to bring the device through. It was a reminder trust is fragile, but it can be built, one act, one interaction at a time. Yes, much was achieved in October 2016, but more importantly, relationships deepened. KFPD invited us to pursue further partnerships, including plans for a 2018 visit from Matthias Roller, a German bioengineer. He intended to set up a workshop producing custom orthoses, train North Korean technicians in Germany, and possibly develop a mobile orthotic team for rural outreach. Reverend Steve Jones returned to Pyongyang, finding great success in teaching goalball to visually impaired students. Then we know COVID hit. Borders closed and everything changed. But the foundation we laid was strong. Friendships were real. Seeds of compassion had taken root. I believe those seeds will bear fruit again. In our next Doc Wales Diaries, you'll meet a remarkable disabled performance ensemble that captured the hearts from Pyongyang to Wales. Their 2017 tour shattered stereotypes and redefined what it means to be an ambassador, not despite disability, but through it. Until next time, may you find courage to keep your word, strength to serve quietly, and joy in knowing that even in the hardest, darkest places, love still finds a way. Bless you as always, Doc Wales.